Okay, here we are. Thank you for coming back. This is Sinking Home or Stolen Home of Logan, because it wasn't really sinking if you go by the Army Corps of Engineers study. And you know, there's a house directly across the street that's still standing, and it hasn't fallen into anything. Uh, you know, Stolen Home of Logan. Okay, now we're into reading some laws that people should be interested in when they get into this situation, and I have quoted them in my lawsuits. U.S. Code 18230 2381. Whosoever knowing an offense against the U.S. has been committed. Now, it's a violation of the Constitution, qualifies for that. Receives, relieves, comforts, or assists the offender. In other words, tries to hinder or prevent his apprehension. In other words, stop prosecution. Trial or punishment is after the fact. Treason trial. 182384. If two or more persons in a state or territory placed in the jurisdiction of the U.S. conspire to overthrow, put down, or destroy some form of government from the United States, the Constitution, that's what creates our government, or oppose the authority, prevent, hinder, or delay the execution of a law of the Constitution. Then we have U.S. Code 241, conspiracy against rights. If two or more persons conspire to injure or oppress or threaten or intimidate any inhabitant of a state. Now, did they oppress? Did they hinder? Have I not gotten paid since 1994? Delayed? That's why I'm puzzled as to the U.S. Attorney General's reaction that, maybe he doesn't think any law has been broken. I've cited quite a few right now. The free exercise or enjoyment of any right or privilege secured to him by the Constitution. This is U.S. Code 241. Then we have 28 U.S.C. 1343. The district court should have original jurisdiction on any matter of civil action authorized by law to be commenced by any person to recover damages for injury to his person or property or because of deprivation of rights. Now, why would the federal court not take this case? There's a code that says that they should. The redress deprivation under the color of law, any right secured by the Constitution. Under the color of law means a government agency. In other words, they tell you that they are a government officer and then they violate the Constitution. That is the color of law. Deprivation under color of law. Sounds like it applies. Then you have USC 242, deprivation of rights under the color of law. Here we are again. Another law violated. Whosoever under the color of law really willfully subjects any inhabitant to deprivation of rights. Sounds like I got deprived. I don't have my house. I don't even have title to the land. USC 1983. Every person who, under the color of any statute, ordinance, regulation, custom, or cause, is a citizen of the United States, deprivation of any rights. I'm deprived. You be the judge. USC 1985. Two or more people conspire for the purpose of impeding, hindering, obstructing, defeating in any matter due course of justice with the intent to deny any citizen equal protection of the law. Isn't the government fighting me after I've been deprived? Obviously, the property is not in my name anymore, never been paid. Isn't them fighting the fact that they have to pay me, depriving me of my rights? So they are, in fact, guilty of treason because they are trying to defend their treasonous acts. So it's a second count of treason. USC 42, 1986, any person having knowledge of any wrongs conspired or done or committed, having the power to aid or prevent, have a trial. Any person that obstructs you from getting to the trial is guilty of 42, 1986, if a jury finds them guilty. But if you can't get to the jury trial, how can the jury find them guilty? Then we go to the Seventh Amendment. In suits at common law where the value of the controversy shall exceed $20. Now remember, the redevelopment authority is being very generous in offering me $100. So that's more than $20. Then we get the judicial canons which bar conflicts of interest by the judge. So therefore, the judge was appointed as a magistrate. So she doesn't have the power to throw the case out. Does that stop her? No. So now she's committing treason, if you read the laws because she's trying to prevent a jury trial in this matter. You be the judge if she's guilty of that crime. I'm just putting it out there. In my opinion, she is violating the other laws. But of course, a jury needs to figure that out, not government officials. Here is a statement that I prepared to the court saying that as a matter of fiduciary duty, any and all officers of the court, including the Attorney General, are obligated to protect the rights of the citizens. The only reason the government is in place is to protect the rights of citizens. Remember Eric Holder, Tom Wolfe's speech, Barack Obama's speech about Russia taking, people should be secure in establishing their own future, and the mayor of Philadelphia being upset that some people were getting their property stolen over in the Ukraine. Yet he's a defendant in a lawsuit where a citizen's getting their property stolen, then he's the defendant in that action. Crazy world we live in. So anyway, in fact, the only reason the government is in place is to protect the rights of citizens and for no other. To utilize the court for anything else is in fact treason. They are violating their oath of office to protect and defend the Constitution, not to violate it. The complaint that allowing the trial would subject the co-defendants to more litigation is actually they are asking the court to shield them from litigation because they have committed this more than once. At least they think they have. I might agree with that too, my personal opinion, but, we need to have facts. So therefore, I would say we should have several trials. Let the chips fall where they may. If you're going to talk the talk as a government official, then walk the walk. If you want the people to feel secure, then stop stealing their stuff. You're in power to protect the rights of citizens. You were hired by the Constitution to protect the rights of citizens, not take them. Again, if you want to contact me about this case or others, again, the case is 146880, 144056, 141330. If you have some ideas, want to help me with the litigation, want to do a story on me, I'm just an auto mechanic. I've been an auto mechanic my whole life. I was never a lawyer. I was forced to learn this law. I was forced because They would not allow a lawyer to represent me. Every lawyer that I contacted them, and then the lawyer bowed off of it. Mysterious, isn't it? That you can't find a lawyer when the government wants to sue you. I don't want to leave without imparting to you another humorous bit about their guidelines for reimbursement for legal representation. They have a maximum of $200 an hour, up to and including $2,000. While the lawyers that are representing the government officials that I am suing are charging way more than that. Maybe, and this is not factual, but it's probably close. $1,000, $1,500 an hour. But they're the perpetrator and I am the victim. I'm only allowed a small representation. It's almost like a guy that's going to rob you saying that you're only allowed to buy a little gun. He's allowed to buy a big gun, but he wants to make sure you only have a little gun. Why? He wants to take advantage of you. What part of protect the rights of citizens does that policy make sense? And as my grandfather used to say, if you don't want to be sued, and this is a message to the government co-defendants, you don't want to be sued, don't do anything wrong. We all recognize what stealing is. Stealing is taking without payment or permission. I have never given them permission to change title on this property. But they did, and they have never paid me to this date. And they are fighting so that they don't have a jury trial, so that you, the people, are able to decide whether me and others can get paid for their property. Watch the Larry Menti video. He's doing good work. And again, JoeTheMechanic5 @gmail.com.